Hello and welcome to Playing Favorites. I'm Paul.
I'm Justin.
Hello, Justin. How are you?
I am wonderful. I'm doing
Very,
good. I'm ready
very
to
excited
go
for
on the
today.
journey we're about to go through here.
Yes, we're going to finish our 90s journey through film here. We're going to be talking about the years 1995, 96, 97, 98, all the way up to the awesome year of 1999. That
Yeah.
I was surprised there weren't that many movies when we got to that point that ended with 1999 because it feels like that was such a fun year to write down. 99.
Yeah,
But
there's no Y2K movie, was there?
I'm sure there was. I have a feeling there's gotta oh my god, there's gotta be a Y2K movie out there somewhere.
such a such a crazy thing that was. But anyways.
Here we are back again. If you haven't seen part 1 of this episode where we talk about 90s movies from 1990 to 1994, what are you doing? You can listen to either of them in any order. It's not like you need to listen to them, but you should, and you should go back and
I
listen
mean,
to our
you could
back
even start with the
catalog.
80s episodes too. We did the
Ooh,
80s as well.
that's
We
true.
still
That's
got to
very
fill in
true.
the gaps between our other decade one, but we'll get there.
Yeah, we will. We've got things on our agenda, but for now, yeah, if you haven't seen us before or haven't listened to us before, we're playing favorites. This is what we do. We take a couple things that we like or find interesting, and we do some research and try to find out why we like something so much. And like I said, this week we are finishing off our favorite 90s movies. And if you would like, I would recommend checking out our YouTube page to see some of our podcast episodes, as well as a some of our Let's Plays. We've got a lot of stuff up there, a lot of fun stuff too. Our holiday specials are in the YouTube channel as well. Those were fun to
You
do.
love those holiday specials.
I do. I love making our little intros. Like I wish we could just do that all the time. Those are fun. But
Yeah.
what else can it? Where else can people find us, Justin?
Oh, they can find us. We have a Facebook page, we have a Twitter page. It's all going to be there's links in the descriptions, but because
Yeah, just look.
yeah, just look down there. But yeah, share our YouTube channel with your friends and family. We actually have a lot of content on there. I was actually I think we have like 70 videos on there, which is kind of wild. We have that many,
Wow.
something like that.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty cool that we've made that much stuff. And that's not everything we made. I mean, obviously we have the podcast
Oh,
as well because we didn't always do video, but lately we've been doing a lot more. So check all of that out and just stay tuned to our channel because we're gonna be doing some events here in a few months, a few weeks. We might even have an ad already in here. We don't know. So
just stay tuned. Yeah, keep an eye on our socials, and we'll be sharing stuff through
anyways,
YouTube, through the podcast,
we have
through
a lot
Twitter.
we have a lot to talk about. So we
Yes, we
should
do.
we should just get into it, I think.
Justin, as always, we've have you prepared a surprise topic for me, and I a surprise topic for you.
No, we don't.
I
We didn't do a surprise topic last time. We didn't do what we don't usually do for these ones.
For these ones we don't, but I have a question
You
for you,
have
and
one. Okay, cool. Then that's a super
I have
surprise
to
topic. I
ask.
wasn't even prepared for a surprise topic.
I know, to tell you the truth, right before we started recording, I was panicking because I was like, I don't have a surprise topic. I didn't think of one. And I was like scrambling to find one. And I was like, no, wait a minute. We don't do that for the night for the decades. But listen, I just got to ask you quickly. This
Okay.
decade is filled with with a lot of great movies,
Hmm.
but also a lot of great soundtracks. And I
Mm.
know we've done a favorite soundtracks episode in the past, but if we're just talking about the '90s and the ones we've covered and shouted out, and you don't have to answer it right away,
Okay.
but I would like you to consider what your favorite soundtrack is from the
From
'90s,
the
like
'90s of film. I'm talking about just
from the
just just
'90s, yep,
movies.
just film soundtracks.
Like
Yep.
when you say soundtrack, not like the soundtrack that had all the mixed songs, like the Godzilla soundtrack that just had a random music in
Well, I
it.
kind of do mean that. I mean, well, that's a terrible
Or
example.
do you mean well?
But, like, Batman Forever had a pretty decent soundtrack with the Smashing Pumpkins songs
Yeah.
and, s other stuff I can't remember. But you know what I mean, like,
Sure.
like but, Braveheart came out in this time too, oh boy, and it had a pretty decent soundtrack, and that was
I
no
got my
singing, it was
answer.
just the instrumentals.
I got my answer.
You Oh, let's hear it then. What's your favorite soundtrack from
The
the
Forrest
'90s?
Gump soundtrack.
Oh, Well, yeah, okay, because it's like a greatest hits of the 60s, 50s, 60s, and 70s.
It was 2 discs. It was
Good
incredible.
answer.
I love that soundtrack.
I didn't know it was 2 discs.
Yeah, I
Dang.
had it. It was great. It had like such a good selection of music. It was awesome.
Well, I'll tell you,
I probably have a
it's a
different one. That's the
time.
first. That one I just had the most information in it. I listened. It was a really good soundtrack.
It is a good one. It is a good one. Mine's The Fifth Element, just for the
Oh yeah,
Divas song. Oh,
yeah.
no, I don't know. Probably the South Park movie. That's
Oh
because it
okay,
is a musical, and it is filled with
that is a good one.
the the music is great. Like,
Yes.
I can't deny. Big Lebowski too.
Hey, it was
But
nominated
alright.
for a best song. So I mean,
Yes, it was. It should have won. Should have won. It lost to Tarzan.
well, I mean Disney always won those ones. I mean, you know.
Yeah, but it lost to
Anyways,
Phil Collins
anyway,
singing about Tarzan. Alright. Well, Justin, let's get right into it. Let's not waste any more time. You
sure.
with your time wasting questions. I I will ask you, um, what is your favorite movie from 1995?
Well, let me set the stage for you before we talk about our favorite movies because we like to go through
Okay.
all the box
Yes.
offices and
What
like
was happening
what
in
was
the world in
happening in the world. Yeah, you're right. What was the current events of the movie industry? So in 1995, and, this is actually really it's kind of a weird shift from the first like half of the decade. It really changes dramatically in 95. Like we talked about this before, and like all of a sudden, like we knew like every film that came out in this year for some crazy reason.
so many movies we were familiar with,
Mm,
and you had a really interesting insight. You said that this was the time when we were, like, not just kids anymore, but we were also, like, watching more adult movies, so it was like we were getting 2, like, age groups worth of movies,
yeah,
really, like, you were still
and,
watching
and,
kids' movies,
and,
but
a
you were
lot,
still
and
you
I
were
was
starting to
watching
watch
tons of
okay.
romantic comedies with my mother. Like it's like
Mhm.
so.
Mhm.
Anyways, so I
There you
think,
go.
like for example, I think I watched every movie in this top 10 except for the first
Mhm.
one. That's number one. So number one, Die Hard
Oh,
with a
stop it.
Vengeance. Yeah, I never watched the Die Hard movies. I don't know. I don't know what to say.
Oh,
Toy Story, Apollo 13,
yeah.
GoldenEye, Pocahontas, Batman Forever, Seven, Casper, Waterworld, and this is actually the beginning of the Kevin Costner post-apocalyptic era. Right here. This is like the beginning right here.
Was there a 3rd one? Because
You
it's this and
you
then the poster one.
you brought up the third one. You found it. We talked about this on the second
Oh, that's
episode.
right.
It
I forgot what it's
was,
called.
and you said it was
Something
like
obscure thing.
I don't know. I don't know what it was
Oh,
called.
I don't
What was,
remember either.
uh,
But
anyways,
we'll call it the Costner trilogy, right?
yeah,
The post-apocalyptic Costner trilogy.
that's right. So I know you asked me first, but I'm going to ask you: Is any of your favorites, or is your favorite in this list, Paul?
In this top 10 of highest grossing films? Yes, it is.
It
It
is
is
in
in
this
this top
list.
yes, it is. Actually, the 2 that I thought would be number 1, like, I couldn't, like, really decide between the 2. One edged out the other, are both in this top 10,
Oh, very nice.
which is kinda surprising for me, usually, but
Waterworld, isn't it?
no, actually. I feel like I've talked about Waterworld enough.
I know.
I'm ready to put
I'm gonna
Waterworld.
if it's in the top 10, like it's gotta be Batman Forever. No,
Wow.
it,
Even though
it
I was super stoked about that movie, if you were to ask me, okay, I'll tell you what the runner up was.
okay,
The runner up was Seven
okay, all
because
right,
that movie, the first time I saw that movie, I mean, it like floored me. Not only was it this creepy, consistently like scary, you never feel like completely settled watching that movie. Um, it actually made me like want to make movies, like like watching David Fincher's directing style. And I mean, Morgan Freeman's great in it. Even
yeah,
Brad Pitt and
it's a good
Gwyneth
movie.
Paltrow are great in it. And in the end, with Kevin Spacey, like just uh, he
So,
plays that creepy character so well. Is that art imitating life? Uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh.
mm.
But
Okay.
but it's just such a like a visually cool looking movie. It's raining all the time. It's kind of Batman-y, if you were to say. It's kind of like you could almost imagine this story taking place in the Batman universe. Like it
Yeah,
could take place in
yeah, like
Gotham,
that's
and
true.
like Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman are like 2 Gotham police officers, you know? You could see it happening.
Hmm.
And Kevin Spacey would be Zaz or something like that, like some mid-tier to low-tier
I love how
Batman
this
villain.
is your runner up, but you were really digging in deep into the movie.
Good movie, man. It's
Yeah.
a good movie. I love it. I really
I
do like it.
remember
Put a lot of
watching I remember liking it when I finally saw it. I can't remember when I saw it. I don't know if I saw it around then. I think I saw it a little bit later, like a couple years
yeah, me
later or
too.
something like
Yeah.
that. But I'm actually surprised that you would bring that one up though too at the same time. So now I don't know.
It's more
I don't
yeah.
know what your favorite is. I really can't. I
Ooh, mystery.
I don't know. I mean, I guess the obvious answer would be I guess Die Hard, but I don't. I mean, I know you like Die Hard, but I don't think that's it. I honestly thought it was going to be a movie that isn't in the top 10.
Do you like what about you? Is your favorite in the top 10 here?
Um, this year was tough for me. I wrote a lot of things down, and I would have to say, like, out of all the ones that are on this list, I have a runner up too, so I'll do that too because this is probably our biggest year. And like obviously, like I loved Mortal Kombat for just the campiness. I just want to shout that
Of
out. To
course.
be honest, like
Of
that's a great
course.
one.
We all give props to the
And no,
Mortal
and
Kombat.
how could you forget Showgirls? Such a masterpiece.
Oh.
and, and then of course the Power Ranger movie. But no, like honestly, like when I was in '95, not just like my adult self reflecting and nostalgic, Mr. Holland's Opus was like this amazing moment of a movie for me. Like I really resonated well with that movie. I thought it was like my first like foray into like drama as a film, I guess. Like it wasn't like something I like go into movies for like the popcorn and flashy stuff. Like, we were both in band and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
I honestly thought that movie was great and it had a really good message. And like, what was that? Who was that? Who was the
Richard
actor?
Dreyfuss?
He played the role like wonderfully. Just the whole thing dealing with a person that does music dealing with a deaf child and like going through the eras and how they handled like John Lennon's death and like the reaction of his son and like I don't know, like that whole movie is great and just the little small moments he has with each of the students as he such a contrast to the movie Whiplash, which you absolutely adore. Like, but like I thought that was such when I had first seen it and I owned that movie and like I watched it a few times when in middle school, high school, and I don't know why I thought it had such a hopeful and like just seeing this person that wanted to become famous and just all of a sudden just kind of fall into this thing he was amazing at and he just did it the rest of his life and like I don't know, it was such a good movie. That's my runner up, I guess.
And you, of course, remember the one student, right? The student that almost took him away from everything, right?
Oh yeah, he almost got a I do. I
They
did.
had that
You
student
reminded
love
me.
affair.
Yeah. Right.
Um, yeah, there's a lot of things I remember about that movie. It was we were both in band and we came out when this was in middle school, but my middle school band teacher said he would give us extra credit if we would bring back the ticket stub
Really?
if we saw the movie. And a friend of mine and I, we went and saw it and brought it back. We were like, this was great. Like we really enjoyed it.
That's a good movie.
And
But
yeah.
I would have to say my favorite's Goldeneye. The more I look at this, it's
yeah.
Goldeneye. It's probably one of my favorite Bond movies. Like it was a great return to Bond. Pierce Brosnan was wonderful. Obviously, we have the game.
Bond.
Yeah,
It's
like
Bond.
I mean, I love oh God, why am I
Roger Moore?
Roger Moore? I don't know why I was getting it wrong. I love the campiness of his film, but like, yeah, Goldeneye was great. It's sad that most of the other Pierce Brosnan movies didn't really hit as good as Goldeneye. Like maybe
Die Another Day, all those other ones, yeah, they suck.
Die Another Day maybe was one of the better ones, but like Tomorrow Never Dies and World's Not Enough. Yeah, they weren't.
Yeah.
They didn't. Goldeneye was a very good '90s Bond movie. Like it was great. Like I think that's all these got to be my favorite.
What made that movie so good? Not only the N64 tie-in game, but it was the 006. It was
Sean
Bean's character. I forget, is it Trevelyan or something like that?
Oh yeah, I think it says
You know
that sounds, yeah, but it sounds right.
That kind of like origin story of Bond and his like good friend and like that makes the villain like that much more impactful, like their meetings and their fights and like the whole story. And of course, you got Boris, your favorite character, Boris.
Yeah, but
how could you not like it?
I mean, all the characters in that film are great. Like, I don't really have anyone to.
I mean,
Xenia. Yeah, that was. Yeah, what was it? Is that on the top? Is she on the top?
Yeah,
The
something like that. She's
she
right.
plays Jean Grey in the X-Men movie. That's all. It's like Femke
Yeah,
Johnson.
Famke Johnson. That's her. Yep.
It's such a
Uh,
unique name.
it is a unique. It's one of those names that you remember because of its uniqueness. Yes.
so
Um,
so can I
oh,
get
man.
your top is not? It's in the top 10. That's what you're telling me.
Yeah, it's in there.
Okay,
All
because
right.
that my movie I would have guessed that I have written down here. I would not isn't in the top 10, and that's what I thought your favorite would be. But go ahead.
Well, let me just tell you a quick couple shout outs that I think we should just tip our hats to for this great year in film.
Oh my god, yeah,
Uh,
seriously.
12 Monkeys
Yep,
starring
I have
Brad
that on
Pitt
my
and
list.
Bruce
Great.
Willis. Yeah, it's a hilarious movie. Terry Gilliam directed it. It's worth watching again. Casino is a good movie. It's a mob movie, but not as good as the other
I
ones.
love my mob movies.
And to tell you the truth, I've never watched this movie from beginning to end in one sitting. I've only ever watched it in pieces. But Michelle Pfeiffer's in it, and oh no, I'm sorry, Sharon Stone's in it,
Mhm.
and she's great. Um, Congo, we have to talk. We have to just mention Congo, Ugly Gorilla, Amy Mother, um, Friday with Cuba with Ice Cube and what's his name, Chris Tucker. It's a
Yeah,
funny movie.
never saw
Still,
that one.
still holds up. Still a great movie. And Kids, that's a great
I
movie.
saw the list. I've never seen Kid, but I remember it being like a thing when I was a kid. Like people talked about it, and
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
know what it was like. More of a darker take on like high school kids or
Yeah, like
something.
New York City street kids. Like you should watch it once, and that's really all you need. Because I thought it was a really good movie. It's not like something I'm like, ooh, I want to pop in Kids,
Yeah,
but it's like a piece of art. You know, you observe
yeah.
it, you appreciate it. And also Larry Fishburne as Othello, the best version of Shakespeare's Othello.
Oh, jeez. I saw
Lawrence
that.
Fishburne as
If you're gonna shout, I want to shout out Jumanji. Jumanji was a
yeah,
great movie.
sure, sure.
I mean, it's such a good year. Billy Madison was a great started. I don't know. I like Billy Madison. Um, the Indie in the Cupboard. You know, my favorite.
Yes,
That's
yes.
such a nostalgic moment for me.
Yep.
Tommy Boy came out that year too, so yeah, it's a good year. And something I was like going down the list. It was like one of these things where I had this moment. I just wrote it down because I'm like, that was a movie, and I forgot that was a movie, and now I remember that's a movie, and that was The Net with Sandra Bullock, and I'm like,
The internet. She got caught in the net.
it's like
That's okay, but that movie and The Firm that we talked about in the last episode, those were two like huge movies that
yeah,
nobody talks about anymore.
I know.
You
It's
know,
like
like
that's right.
they just
She was in that
disappeared.
movie. They just
And it was a big deal for her as an actress. Like that was kind of like a breakout besides Speed, but like that was
yeah.
an important like she taking the lead. Yeah, man. Those movies that were like such huge deals when they came out are like nobody talks about them. They have not aged gracefully.
No. So, what is your
Uh,
favorite? Is it Apollo 13?
no, that's fine. That's like one of those.
I'm like
It's on
this. I'm just
CBS,
starting
you
to say
just turn on.
what I don't know what your favorite movie is then in the top 10 in 1995.
Already said it. It's Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Oh, is it
I
okay?
can't believe you haven't seen this one. This one has Samuel L. Jackson
Oh, I
and Jeremy
know.
Irons as the villain who plays Hans Gruber's brother. This movie is so over the top. It's like even I'd never seen a Die Hard movie before I watched it. Okay, I'd never seen the first two. I watched this movie and I was like, these movies must be great if this is how they always are. Little did I know that this movie was just like a Hail Mary of like, let's just throw all sorts of things at the audience and see what happens and kind of make a plot around it. Like, I don't know.
One
It
of these
was
days,
cool.
I'll watch the Die Hard movies.
Jeremy Irons plays like this terrorist guy whose name is his nickname is like Simon. He's Simon Peter Gruber, Hans Gruber's brother. They make a big deal about it. And but
I
he
remember this movie coming out. Like I remember like the posters with Samuel Jackson like screaming out of the car and like just like
yes.
I,
They made video game after video game of this. Yes. And
so I thought your
I'm
answer was gonna be Braveheart. You
you
talk
know,
about Braveheart all the time.
as a young, impressionable child, and with a big brother who loved this movie,
Sure.
yes, I instantly loved the movie as well. Have you tried to watch that movie
No,
anytime
not
recently?
recently. No.
It is a shock to me that it won the Academy Award that year, especially with what came out. that year, like between 7 and anything. I would have taken anything
Can't be
on
that
this
bad.
list.
I don't know. I thought it was. I mean, I thought it was okay when I watched it initially. I mean, I watched it a few times. I mean, I had it on the
You
double
need to watch.
VHS.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Um, yeah, the Jerky Boys movie came out this year too, and that's about
Okay.
the same category I would put in Braveheart. It's
So
I
we're
don't want to
spending
watch
so much
it.
time on '95 because as we go deeper in this decade, we were like, wait, where'd all the movies go?
I know, right?
It's
Like, so what's your favorite? Or did you already say? Or you
GoldenEye.
said Goldeneye, Goldeneye.
Yeah,
That's right. But you
yeah,
shouted out Jumanji.
yeah.
That's right.
I've shot. Yeah, there's so many movies in here. I'm like, wow, I remember that. I mean, I've watched Jumanji again since it came out. You know, like I watched it like probably like a few years ago because I watched it with the kids or something like that.
Of
Babe is
course.
a good movie too. That was a good movie as well. Um, yeah, we should move on because we.
Yes.
but Die Hard and Vengeance. Yeah, one of these days I'll get to Die Hard. One of these days. One of these days.
First one's good. I had to tell you the truth, I've never seen the second one.
Oh,
But the third one is great, man. It's just so funny. It's just like a big there's riddles in it and
okay.
just so stupid. It's so stupid and silly and
Well,
fun.
we're moving on to 1996. I believe
All
we're
right.
finally in high school now.
Yeah, so
Um,
what's going on in 96? What are the highest grossing films of 96?
well, aliens are taking over. Number one is Independence Day. Number two is
Oh,
Twister. So you got like the whole era of just like explosions and like world-ending like things.
yeah, now we got that CGI technology. You
Yep.
know, we're trying to use those special effects.
So,
Yes.
so Independence Day, Twister, Mission Impossible, The Rock, The
Ooh, the
Hunchback.
first Mission Impossible.
Yeah, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, Hunter One Dalmatians, the live-action version, Ransom, The Nutty Professor, Jerry Maguire, and Space Jam.
Man. Disney was making live action versions of movies even back in 96.
Yeah.
Ay, ay, ay.
Well, yeah, they made that one. They made The Jungle Book back then.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, with the
Combat.
guy from Mortal Kombat.
Oh yeah, Smoke, the guy who plays Mowgli.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I forget the actor's name. Is on the one
Yes.
that was or whatever the Liu Kang. Was it Liu Kang?
Yep.
So what was your favorite?
You want to know what my
96?
favorite is? Point blank. It's not in this top 10. I will shout out ID4, as we call it, on the streets.
Independence Day was a freaking moment, and it is. I've watched it a million times, and like, then they did the sequel, and I had no desire to watch it. I was just like, I
No, it's
kind of.
done.
You didn't need to do it again. It was over with. But
Exactly.
back when I was a kid, I wanted a sequel. They probably would have gotten away with it if they made it like a couple years after the first one.
Oh
But
yeah, a few years after, they would have gotten us hook, line, and sinker.
yeah, but not my favorite though.
So-
But it definitely was up there in that era.
I don't know when we'll ever talk about this again, so I need to bring this up quickly. In Independence Day, do you remember actually the commercials for Independence Day that they would show on TV? It would be a lot of like the news footage from
Kind
the
of, yeah,
movie.
vaguely, yeah.
So I played this cruel trick on my mother where I called her into the TV room
Oh my
and said,
god.
"Look what's happening on the news." And it was like the perfect moment where it was just like attack in New York City and like people running. And she's like, "Oh my gosh, what is happening?" And then it like pans over to like an alien spaceship, and the look she gave me, oh my gosh, could have like melted an iceberg. She just like looked at me and was like, and just walked out of the room. And I'll just never forget. I remember I was like, this footage looks so real. I'm gonna get her with it. And
This happened to my dad, but not with the Independence Day movie. Like he was, I
what
think
movie?
I don't even know if it was a movie. I think it was that radio broadcast that like it was like a radio.
War of the Worlds?
I don't remember. Like I wasn't there. This is like a story given to me.
This is from
I
like
don't know. All I
1920.
know is the story that I have about this whole thing is that my mom was sleeping on the couch and my dad heard this thing, whatever it was, and went nuts and like woke my mom up. It's like aliens are coming, and like he called like some guy he knew from high school. That's the only person he could think of calling. He's not even friends with him anymore. He was just called him random dude. Anyways,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, I just
Oh my gosh.
my dad.
That's hilarious. This happened in what, the 70s?
Well, he
The
wasn't.
early
No,
80s?
no, because I think they're already married, so it would have been like 80s because they got married in 82. So, but
Justin, that is amazing. That in the 80s, your dad heard the broadcast from the 40s or
I think
50s
it was that.
and
I don't know
believed that.
what else could it have been. I don't know.
I don't know what radio. I mean, could it have been like Chicken Heart with like, you know what I'm talking about?
But anyways,
All right. Okay, I just thank you. Funny how these things can actually trick our parents. Um, I I know I've got a bunch of shout outs for this, but I'm not going to beat around the bush. My favorite movie from 1996, hands down, is The Birdcage, starring Robin
I
Williams,
saw that
Gene
on there.
Hackman,
It's a good one.
what's his name? Nathan Lane, Callista Flockhart's in it. The mother, the other mother, they're great. The son. Oh, and Hank Azaria as
Yeah,
Spartacus.
yeah.
Agador, Spartacus. Agador,
I
Spartacus.
I did enjoy it when it came out because I mean I love Robin Williams, but
Oh,
like
good movie.
it's a good one. It's a good one.
Just the dinner scenes and like when they're just trying to get like everything to the table and Robin Williams is just yelling at Hank Azaria and he starts crying. He's like, "You forgot the shrimps." He's like, "Shut up, just shut up."
Robin
So,
Williams was such a good actor. I'm
oh my
telling you,
gosh, so good. And
he was so
I
good.
guarantee most of it is like improvised or like a lot of it is just off the cuff. But all right, Justin, what's your favorite movie from '96?
I have to say, I know you laughed a little bit in the beginning, but I looked at this list. I might have to say Mission Impossible. I really
That's
do.
a good movie, man.
It's a good movie. It's a great movie. I have to say, like, Scream is probably like a close second. Like, I love the Scream movie. I personally liked it. I like that personally. I thought it was a movie.
Yeah.
I have a lot. It's more, I guess, nostalgia of the moment. I really liked the horror movies coming back, or slasher movies, if you would.
Sure.
But yeah, Mission Impossible. Like we've talked about this so many times. I don't even know if on the podcast we brought it up that much, but like it, just like the whole we joke about the whole internet thing, like with Mission Impossible, like him going for Job 90, like Job 314 or whatever, like going through all that. But just the story and like just the characters. You got like Bing is it Bing Rhymes? Bing Rhymes?
Big Rhymes. Yeah,
Bing Rhymes. And like just like the twists and turns, and you got the masks and just the train scenes are so awesome. Like them trying to get like the things on the train. Just, obviously you got like the iconic thing where he goes into the wires, but I feel like the train scene is really cool too. Like
That's a cool scene, and we got, of course, John Anaconda himself.
yeah,
And now I just blanked on his name.
Jon Voight.
Jon Voight. Thank you,
You're welcome.
John. Not himself. Yeah, like I love it because it's like you're watching this group of spies, and then like about 2/3 of the way through the movie, you realize that the spies are being spied upon by other spies. And it's just an interesting take on that whole thing because that was like a whole TV series
Yep.
from England, I think it was like a British TV series.
Was it? I mean, I think it aired in the U.S. I think I watched
It did.
watched old episodes of it. I'm not sure where it's from.
But it was like something like neither one of us like grew up watching or knew anything about, but like seeing this with Tom Cruise and like kind of like what they were trying to do was amazing. And yes, the internet stuff and all that computer stuff is hilarious. How it even works. Remember the floor was like pressure sensitive, so like
Yeah.
if the guy left the room.
The shots are kind of neat how they handle like the sweat and him. First off, let me just talk about that scene. Like, how did he catch it with his glove? I never understood that. It's like he's like this, and like he gets his hand like this. Like I don't know what he's doing.
Everybody thought the same thing. How did he catch it? Like, but in the moment, you're just like so relieved that he did catch it and didn't get caught. That's why. It's how they got away with that.
Yeah, I could
I would-
say that's a Birdie. I also thought Fargo was good, but I don't
yeah,
really remember
it's
it
a great
that.
movie.
It is a good movie, but like
Been a long
I,
time since
it's
I've
been
seen that one,
so. I mean, now they have a TV show for that whole thing, but like,
which I hear
but
is really
I
good
do
too.
want to shout out this movie. Definitely, this is more comfort food. Like not even comfort food, but just it's such a quotable movie, and that is "Don't be a menace in South Central while
Oh
drinking your
yes,
juice in the hood." Such a
that's a good
freaking hilarious movie. Just the one scene where he gets mad, upset, he just starts punching all the children in the room when he
Well,
comes.
he's like punching the air, and, like knocking things over, and then just, like hits a child. Like
Oh my
yes,
god.
it like builds
I,
up.
I, I
Like
would I would
it's
watch that movie again. Like that was such a moment like where like you had
almost
a friend that watched it. You're like you got to watch this movie, and then you had to
yes.
show your friend the movie because you saw the movie. But yeah, like yeah, don't be medicine to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood.
Because it's like a compilation. It's like a Wayans Brothers parody movie, and it's parodying some of the movies we talked about last time, like Do the Right Thing,
Yep.
what's it, Boys in the Hood, and even like from this time of the decade, you like there oh like Baby Boy, like there are others that come out around this time. It's so funny. Do you remember the like the foreplay scene where they're like using food sexually,
Yeah.
and he like takes the hot dog and he starts like touching her, and she was like, "No, no, no, that's for the baby's lunch." And, like puts it away. I love that.
They got the
Right off
guy
of
at
the
the end
belly.
where he's like, "I got these cheeseburgers, man. I got
Oh
these
god.
cheeseburgers, man."
They do like the little arms race between the guys who want to do a drive-by on his friend there, and he pulls out a gun, shows him that he's got a bigger gun, pulls out like a Mac 10, the other guy pulls out like a machine gun, and then the main dude's friend opens like the back of his mail truck, and there's a nuclear weapon, and
Hmm.
he's like it's like, "Do we have a problem?" It's fun. It's
It's a
fun.
fun movie.
I gotta I'm just gonna yell these out. The Craft, Witchcraft for middle schoolers. Every
Oh
goth
yeah,
kid loves it.
Jesus.
From Dusk Till Dawn, Boobies, just seeing nudity and then vampires.
Okay,
Mars Attacks, actually a really funny movie
it
with Jack
was.
Nicholson playing a bunch of roles.
Yeah. Oh, I'll
Uh,
Eraser.
Train Spotting, great Ewan. What is
Yeah.
that? One of Ewan McGregor's first movies, if not his first. Star
Yeah.
Trek: First Contact came out
Yeah.
this year,
Oh man,
and we can't leave this year without talking about The Rock.
I
Come
never
on.
watched The Rock.
You've never seen The Rock? Oh my
No,
gosh. That is like the epitome of a like Jerry Bruckheimer or
I
Michael
know.
Bay. Michael Bay. That's the epitome of the Michael Bay film. There is no better Michael Bay film than The Rock. That gets all the things that
I
you
don't know.
want and
Never
expect
watched
from
it.
him. You
Never,
should
never,
see it.
never saw it.
Ed Harris. Oh, Nicolas
I
Cage.
remember. I remember it coming up. I never watched it.
Really funny.
I
It's
liked
hilarious.
the only other one I saw in here. I thought I can't really remember it, but I remember like enjoying was Kingpin with
Hmm.
Woody
Saw
Harrelson.
that. Yep, and Randy Quaid,
You know, but
some other people.
well,
Bill Murray.
we probably should leave the first 2 years of this episode and
We're
take a
certainly front loaded this episode. So yeah, you're right. We should take a break, take a breather, collect our thoughts, and come back for this thinner, slimmer half of the 90s. Welcome back. All right, Justin. Here we are in the last bit of the 90s movies. We're going to start with 1997. What could you tell me was going on in 1997?
well, the one of the biggest movies ever made came out in '97. I'm sure.
Uh-huh.
I'm guessing it's neither of our favorites though.
You are correct, sir.
But that would be the movie Titanic, because a lot of
Never seen it.
people went to see that. Really, that's
Never seen it.
not surprising, but yet at the same time surprising.
I
But
know. Now,
Titan,
now it's a point of principle. I'm just not going to watch it.
it's a point of principle. Okay, well,
But why would I want to watch it? If I didn't want to watch it then, why would I want to watch it now? Like,
we owned it because my mom wanted to watch it, and I watched it a few times. It's all right. So
I would walk
it's
out of the room.
entertaining. Entertaining.
Oh, thanks.
Anyways, Titanic, The Lost World, Jurassic Park, Men in Black, Tomorrow Never Dies, Air Force One, As Good as It Gets, Liar, Liar, My Best Friend's Wedding, The Fifth Element, Full Monty.
All of these movies have like a weird thing going on in them. These were all like kind of offbeat movies.
Yeah.
If I'm looking at this list objectively, except for Titanic. I mean, that's kind of like
Well, I mean,
trying
Men in Black
to.
and Jurassic Park were typical blockbuster type movies. I mean, I wouldn't say they were. I mean, they were
Sure.
unique, but
Yeah, I just mean in that sense, like they're like that and like Liar Liar being like this like Jim Carrey comedy that's like, what if you can't tell a lie? You
I
know, it's
loved
very like
Liar, Liar. Don't mess with Liar, Liar. That was a great
never
movie.
saw it. Never
Ah,
saw it.
see, you were
Sorry.
hanging out with the wrong people.
I must have, but I did see As Good as It Gets when it came out.
So my question to you about 97, is this a cop out if I just say the Star Wars Special Edition movies?
Yes.
Damn
Wait,
it.
is this when they started? Is this when they started doing
Well, they
the
all came out this year. The whole trilogy did. They all came out in the same year.
Right. Oh, that's cool. I do remember I went and saw all three of them. I remember with my brother and future sister-in-law at the time.
I
Like we
think I
went and saw.
saw the first two. I mean, there's one I didn't see. Yeah, I think this is when I got into Star Wars. Like I had just
Yep.
watched Star Wars like 2 years prior to this. So me going to theaters to see him was really exciting because I was a newborn fan.
Yep.
But
I felt very similarly. Like we were getting was like the thing that I had just gotten into was being re-released in theaters with new stuff.
yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah,
It's,
take it as well. I think Empire was the best special edition out of all of them because they didn't really do much and they added some really cool things to it. So it's like they didn't really like go nuts with it. They didn't give the Sarlacc pit a beak, but like,
yeah, that's true.
but anyways, 97. There's a lot of other good movies that came out this year. We've reviewed 2 of them.
True. Which two are on the list?
Event Horizon and Spawn.
Oh, you know, I didn't know Spawn. I knew that Event Horizon was on this list as I was like just going through Spawn, really? 87.
Go check our YouTube channel and watch our review on Spawn.
Yes. We did an earnest review of Spawn and Event Horizon.
Yes.
And both are crazy as all get out. Let me just say. Ay.
Oh man. So I have 2 that I could probably pick from on this list. Anaconda's on this list too. That's kind of funny.
Yes, it is.
I would have to say I'm gonna start first. I am torn. They're 2 science fiction movies, they're 2 sci-fi movies. And
I think I know. I think I got them both.
There's 2 of them. And one of them we've talked about one. I think it was our favorite in a different episode.
Mm-hmm.
That movie is, I'm going to go with it. This is probably my favorite one of that year. The other one is a close second, and this is hard to say this. Starship Troopers is my favorite.
Ooh, that movie is a better movie.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
It is way smarter than people give it credit for. I don't know.
No one could see it. They thought it was just so campy and cheesy, and like the more you watch it, it's like, yeah, it is good.
It's satire. It's real. It's like satire, and it's, you know, it's got all the trappings of an action, you know, bloody fight against aliens, but at the same time, there's, you know, Neil Patrick Harris's character who basically looks like a Nazi general.
Yeah,
you know, it's
Fifth Element would have been my close second. Fifth
Yes.
Element is my close second, and that's hard. Like I could say, like it's like that's like an any given day thing. I could probably flip flop those. But like Starship Troopers, I feel like I sit there, I look back, it's like Fifth Element was a fun ride. It was really cool, and like I love just the bonkers of it and crazy concept of it, and just Bruce Willis and, you know, Mia Djokovic. Is it Mia Djokovic?
Mila Djokovic,
Yeah, just like their chemistry and stuff. But like in the end, I'm just like, Starship Trooper was a better like overall made film, and more. It's like there's just so many more moments of it, and just the concept of it is really cool. Like even though it's like simplistic on the from a distance, but like you said.
And I will say this is kind of a weird thing. I do agree with you that Starship Troopers is a better movie, but Fifth Element has better actors.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the cast in Starship Troopers has to be. They're younger, you know?
Yeah.
And a lot of them, I mean, like they're okay. They're fine, but you know, that's what Fifth Element has going for it, is that
it's bad actors.
in it.
But that might be the point of Starship Troopers, is to have that bad acting too at the same time. You know, it's like,
you know, I wouldn't put it past it too. Like it's that tongue in cheek. Well, Speaking of movies that are like satirizing or sending up, my favorite from this, and I think you think you know what it's going to be. You think I'm going to say Austin Powers.
I would never have guessed that at all. Like,
Okay,
you don't watch mainstream movies, so I don't really know. I
it's it's Waiting for Guffman.
don't
It's
even know what
Christopher
this
Guest.
is.
It's Christopher Guest's first big movie, I guess. I think he
What's it?
made something else before.
Waiting for what?
Waiting for Guffman.
I have no idea what
And
this is.
okay, so this movie is a parody. It's like a mockumentary. Like he's done other movies you would recognize, like the
G. Levy.
A Mighty Wind or Best in Show, for your consideration. He's always done these kinds of, and he always uses the same like ensemble cast, like Eugene Levy, Catherine O'Hara, Parker Posey, Fred Willard's always with them. Um, it's about a small town in Missouri that's putting on a community theater show led by this guy who used to who starred in a or who was on like on a off Broadway production. So he feels like he's got like the
I'm looking at
connections to
screenshots,
Broadway.
and
Yeah.
this looks like a Paul movie right here. Like this
It
is.
is so funny. And honestly, when I'm looking it up, if you're looking at the Wikipedia page for it, it has been recognized as one of the 100 best movies of all time. It's like one of
Is it number 100?
the, even if it was, still beats Dark City. Yeah, yeah. But um, it's it's hard to describe the plot except that like they're waiting for this like this New York City critic to come, and they've like they've put this play together, this original play that's just like it's a complete mess. It's terrible. And it's about like the history of Blaine, Missouri, called Red, White, and Blaine. And in the end, they see like the guy sitting in the chair for the reviewer, who's like this, critic from New York who's coming. And then it turns out it was just some dude who needed a seat, and the guy never came.
Oh,
But it's really good, and one of his best movies. And, this is Spinal Tap would be like a close kind of like
okay. Similar.
spiritual successor
So did
to
the
it.
same director make that one too?
He's in it, but I think it was Rob Reiner that directed This is Spinal Tap.
Oh,
No,
I
I'm
don't
not
remember.
sure.
I don't know.
Um,
I mean, it looks interesting. I guess I don't know if I probably might have watched it at a certain time in my life, but I don't know what I would ever fit it in
oh yeah,
now.
he did.
Yes.
He did. This is Spinal Tap, Waiting for Guffman, Best in Show, Mighty Wind, For Your Consideration, and Mascots.
For your consideration sounds familiar.
Yeah, it's about like award-seeking movie makers, but you've probably seen stuff from Best in Show. That's the dog show one with Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara. It's
I
a
don't.
great movie.
Okay.
I'm just gonna force you to watch it sometime.
Oh,
You should watch
great.
all the movies. I
Okay.
converted Kristen. She did not want to watch these the first time I put them on.
I'll watch
She was
this if you watch Titanic. How's that sound?
no, no deal.
No deal. All right.
All
Well,
right,
that is your favorite from '97. Got
it
it.
is.
I don't have much to add. I'm sorry. I was just like, I'm sure it's fine. I'm not trying to like pick apart
No,
a
no, no.
movie. I have no way to give feedback at all. But anyways,
But I did put Austin Powers on my shout outs list here
huh?
because it is also like a like a send up, a satire, not a satire, but like a send up of like 60s spy movies. Um, yeah, it was good. It still holds up. Fifth
I,
Element, of course. Gattaca.
I did want to shout out Chasing Amy.
Yep. Yep. The
It's
series.
one of my favorite. It's probably one of my favorite. At least when I got into Kevin Smith movies, like I thought that was such a. I mean, granted, it had a lot of Star Wars references in the beginning, but like I thought it was like an interesting take on a kind of a love triangle, and it kind of has a weird ending, and like it was very different for that kind of film, I guess. And
Exactly. I think that's what people appreciate about Smith's films at this
yeah,
time.
it wasn't
Mallrats
like
was
it wasn't like that typical stereotypical ending and stuff like that. So I thought that was a good one that came out that year. Um,
I remember
I
my
don't know.
brother being disappointed in the movie, and specifically in the ending. He was like, "And I watched this whole movie, and it didn't end the way I wanted it to end." And I'm like,
It's a perfect ending. It made sense. It's like
"Yeah,
because what he was asking for was sort of ridiculous. It's like
exactly.
let's just have a threesome now. Like, we'll just make everyone happy. I'm like, no, that's not how this works.
I want you out of my house."
um, oh, and I just Goodwill Hunting. I just only because I love
It's
Robin Williams. He was awesome in that.
a good movie.
Yeah. So there's that. Was
Fun
cute.
to watch. All right, Justin. Let's move it on up. We're getting closer and closer to the year 2000.
We can't
But
get there though, Paul.
no, we won't get there this time.
We
No.
won't get there because guess what's happening?
What?
Armageddon.
Oh, in 1998. Talk about a all-star cast. Armageddon. Is this your favorite? Is this what you're
No,
waiting to say?
no, I don't like.
Armageddon's your favorite movie?
I'm anti Animal Cracker. Excuse me.
Oh my
Um,
god, that movie is terrible. This one I did see this one in theaters, and I remember
I
thinking,
think I did
"This
too.
one is so much better than Deep Impact." That stupid Ron
I
Howard.
love the
It's just
Deep Pack was so much better than Armageddon. It was way better than
yeah,
Armageddon.
but do you understand? Like, I hated it on site because I knew it was Ron Howard just copying a movie that was already in theaters, like, or that was already coming.
I mean,
Like,
I always wonder how that
uh,
happens because they released the same year, and like I
God,
don't understand how that would happen. Like, were they just like next door from each other or something? Like,
I hear it from like they're like they hear it from other like other agents, other actors, whoever is working in the business. They hear like, oh, there's another group of people developing a script called Armageddon. They're like, really? I can make a movie like that. Give it to Ron Howard. He'll do it. He's Hollywood's hack director. He'll do anything. That's what Ron Howard's for. He'll pick up your movie when you've fired your 2 directors.
hey, leave Solo alone.
I'm just saying, he's the one that they go to. It's like, who will do the job nobody wants? Give
Well,
it to Ron
anyways,
Howard.
we also had another big movie that year, which I actually have never seen. This one, it's Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Godzilla was number 3. There's
Oh,
something about Mary, number 4. A
yep,
Bug's Life, Deep Impact, Mulan, Doctor Doolittle, Shakespeare in Love, Lethal Weapon 4.
4th one.
Yep. But this
Hey,
is definitely like probably the lowest amount of movies that I wrote down because I like was just like, okay, I don't remember half of these things. What happened? Like we were like in this glory day and just like all of a sudden like movies didn't exist anymore. Like I don't know what happened here.
you know, these were like this was the time of like watching for me, at least in 98, this was like, I want to watch movies that are weird and different. So some of the ones that I put on my list here, I had to like look through this list really thoroughly to find movies that I actually liked from this year.
Yeah,
So movies like Pi, American History X, Fear and Loathing Las Vegas, and
all
I'm
movie,
sure.
all movies I haven't seen.
But what about What Dreams May Come with what Robin Williams? That was one of my like I loved that movie when I saw it. It was
Oh,
such a crazy like
was that when he
uh,
passed? He dies.
yes, like his
Okay.
whole family dies basically, and he just like meets his family in the afterlife, and that's
Well, no,
basically the
his wife
story.
is still alive, isn't it? Isn't she? And she's like depressed.
Yes,
It's
and
like
then
she's
she
sad or
no,
something.
no, she dies. She commits suicide, and that's the
Oh,
thing.
she commits suicide.
So he's got to go rescue her from hell.
Yeah, it was
That's the
visually interesting. Yes, I do remember that.
exactly,
I didn't. I
exactly.
wouldn't have not like going to the list. I did not remember the name of it though. Like I would not known that was on this list because I didn't
I
see
think
it.
I think Max von Sydow's in it as well. But like, yeah, there's a lot of interesting American History X. You've never seen that? That's Ed Norton and
No,
Captain Benjamin Sisko,
nope.
Avery Brooks.
I know what it is. I just never watched it.
It's that's one of those like one and done. Like you
Yeah,
watch it, get the point.
yeah. I don't
All
know.
right.
I was never really into those type of like. I don't know what you call those types of movies. They just never like I guess intrigued me and like I never like again, I didn't have people that were like begging me to watch those things either. Like, I mean, you gotta think I mean, around this time, I
Were
had
we
like,
hanging out yet? I don't know if we were hanging
not
out yet.
really. We were not. This isn't a senior year. Our senior year was when we hung out. So this is
Yeah,
'98. We graduated
yeah.
2001.
Well, I thought we started hanging out like early high school a little bit.
We
Not
had
really hanging
not
out.
really.
No, no,
No, it
no.
was senior year because we had computer graphics and the English trip.
We would like we hung out like in mutual company, like in our junior year into the summer, and then our
Sure.
senior years when we
But
really
yeah,
started.
movie thing wasn't really a like
Yeah.
Princess Mononoke was kind of like what connected us.
Oh
I
yeah.
think.
PMBW baby.
Yeah, but I mean,
Black and white.
but again, like I did have I had you know I think I'm at home with an also like a 3-year-old brother, so like I didn't really think to watch these
Sure.
types of things too. So it's like
Yeah, not really home video watching. Watching Ed Norton do a curb stomp. Yep.
but yeah, so like me, like I still saw like some some good movies in this year. Like I would watch things like with my cousin and whatnot, and we like the popcorn flicks, like
Hey,
like
nothing wrong with Truman Show.
Lost in Space,
Uh,
But anyway, that's not my favorite for this. You know what? I would look between these two. Like one, I think you would agree with me was a great movie. The other one, I know you don't agree with me because you've harped on it my entire life.
please, please go on. What is the movie that you think that I would appreciate?
The Big Lebowski.
Justin, that's mine too.
Right?
Let's share it. Let's share our favorite of 1998 is The Big Lebowski. It is a good movie.
It's an amazing movie. Yes, you're right.
But like so little happens in it that people are often like think like, well, what happened? Well, what happened with this? It's like the point is nothing happened.
Someone
like,
dies.
Yeah, someone does die. Johnny dies,
Yeah.
fortunately. But like as a result of nothing, like as a result of, like a heart attack. It just
Well, they get like the what are those things called? The what do they call the group? The group that comes to
the nihilists.
the nihilists.
We have nihilists. We
It's
care about
such-
nothing, Lebowski.
It's
Nothing.
such a weird concept of a film. Like I want to understand the brainstorming session. Like how do you even think of making a movie about this? Like I don't even understand. Like
I feel like it's more like character driven. Like, they had this idea for like Jeff Bridges' Lebowski character, like the dude. Like, and then they just started building around him, like, well, who would his friends be? What's his name? Steve Buscemi is just like a regular dude who's just their friend and on their bowling team. And then you got John Goodman, who is like
Yeah.
a Vietnam vet who is still clearly in Vietnam. Who's like very much still affected by that, not really acclimated to the real world again.
Could they have just like casted everyone first and then just like, okay, this is the movie we're making? Like like that's what it kind of feels like somewhat. It's because you got like characters that just kind of randomly like with Susan Sarandon, like she just randomly shows up. Right? Isn't she in it? Isn't she the artist?
Oh no, no.
Who is that?
Julianne Moore.
Julianne Moore. Sorry, they kind of have the same color hair. But yeah, like she just kind of appears out of nowhere. Like it's like she's like, well, we want to bring Julianne Moore into this. Who could she be? Let's make her this weird artist person. Like
daughter of the Big Lebowski. Yep. Well, I love that. I love that scene when he gets like knocked out in his apartment.
Yeah,
and he kind of like he has the dream, but he comes to, and Maud, Julianne Moore's character, is standing above him in his bathrobe. She's just like standing above him, and he looks up. He's like, Maud, and she's like, Jeffrey, and takes it off, and she's naked and goes, love me, and he just like turns over and goes, my robe, and then it's a cut until after they've had sex, and I just love that. My robe.
It's such a weird movie.
It is. It's just full of these like little nuggets of joy. I love it. I feel like it's one of those you could just put it on anytime and just watch it. So yes, good choice, I'd say.
But my other answer.
Ready to move on to the next year?
My other answer is obviously Dark City.
Yep.
It's got to be Dark City.
Who's the main character? What's his name?
Oh God.
Not Kiefer Sutherland.
Oh, like what the actor's name?
Yeah.
I don't know. I have no idea who the actor is.
Name another actor or actress from that movie besides Kiefer Sutherland.
Jennifer Connelly. She's the girl.
Fine.
What were you trying to prove?
That nothing in that movie is worth revisiting.
Oh come on! You're so. It is not that bad of a movie.
I would not watch Titanic, but if you wanted to trade me, if you watch Waiting for Guffman, I will watch Dark City again, and I will give it an honest try.
So
you heard it here. It's been recorded.
All right. I might consider that. I'm looking up the actor's name. His name is Rufus Sewell.
Okay. Sounds good. Rufus. You had me at Rufus.
Rufus Frederick Sewell.
Frederick Seawolf? What the fuck did you say?
Sewell. Sewell? Maybe
Oh
Sewell?
my gosh.
Sewell.
I am
Sewell.
writing this down because the next screen name I have to come up with is going to be Rufus Seawolf.
But
Seawolfson, whatever you
he's
said.
actually in a lot of things though. He was in
Good.
A Knight's Tale. He was in Judy, The Father, The Illusionist, Amazing Grace. He was in John Adams, 11th Hour. He was in The Pillars of the Earth,
Hey,
The Man in the High Castle,
good book.
The Marvelous Mrs. Marcel.
Maisel. Yeah.
Maisel. Yeah.
Maisel? Yeah, it's a
Maisel.
show.
Yeah. But yeah. He's in stuff.
Great. Good for him. Glad that his career survived Dark City.
I thought that was such an interesting concept of a film. It was very unique for science fiction in the 90s, personally, because it didn't win. I don't know. I just thought it was a very different. I like that film noir vibe, like the 90s, like the 1920 vibe, which kind of had that vibe a little bit. Yes, the villains are weird and creepy, but that's the point. I don't know. I just like the visuals and stuff. The fact that they would change, like take personalities and put them in other people's minds, and they'd wake up with a new body because they're experimenting on humans. Like, I don't know. I thought it was really cool and had really neat visuals to it. That is my really fast take, and I will defend myself on that hill.
This is the hill you've chosen to die upon.
Dark City, yes.
The city, the hill in Dark City. Okay. I would be interested in seeing it again. I think because it's been so long, and I was like ready to not like it when you showed it to me.
I definitely overhyped it. That was in the early stages of our
I
friendship.
believe you had said something along the lines of this was just as good, if not better, than The Matrix.
The Matrix has technically not coming out yet.
I thought it was that year.
No, it comes out next year. But like by the time I showed it to you, the movie had already released. But the other ones in '98 though, I do want to shout out the X-Files movie. I actually really like that movie. It was a good time. Blade, I just have a weird nostalgic heart vibe to that movie. It's so horribly cheesy, so bad. Pleasantville too. I actually enjoyed that, but I don't remember.
That was a good movie.
It was a good movie.
Was like, it was like when it was all black and white. And once they had sex, the characters were in color.
Once they found like, it wasn't just having sex. It was like, but they kind of related that a lot. It's like they kind of saw something new or realized it's more to the world, more to life than just because it's his sister that gets sucked in with Tobey Maguire. Renee Witherspoon, I think was that. I think it was her.
Reese Witherspoon.
Reese Witherspoon. She doesn't. She's having sex with everybody, and she doesn't change color. Like she has to find like some other kind of meaning to life than just having sex all the time. But anyways, yeah, it's a good movie. So, all right, moving on to our final year, and then we can figure out our favorite of the 90s.
Oof.
So, just to set the stage here.
Yes, please.
Our final year, are going into our senior year. Wait, no, this is our junior year.
Sorry, going into our junior year.
So episode 1, Phantom Menace was number 1. Sixth Sense, Toy Story 2, The Matrix, Tarzan, The Mummy, Notting Hill, The World Is Not Enough, American Beauty, Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me.
Yes.
Now, if you know me, you probably would guess my answer. But it's hard for me to say Phantom Menace is my favorite. It really is.
There are better movies.
Yeah, I love Phantom Menace. Don't get me wrong. I will watch that over and over again. But I do have a favorite more of that year. But what is yours?
All right. So, I went back and forth on this. I already said that South Park was my favorite soundtrack. It is a really funny movie.
It is
like as a movie itself, it's great.
It's a great movie.
But my favorite movie from this time, if I had to, it's like I'm flipping a coin between these two at this point. I'm gonna give it to American Beauty because
Thought you might. I thought you
I
might.
really liked that movie when I saw it, and it's like an offbeat drama,
Mhm.
and a lot of it has to do with two young people about our age, dealing with parental expectations, and it was just like I felt like it was a really cool like slice of life. And yeah, Kevin Spacey's character is interesting, but I always found myself more interested in the daughter and her boyfriend, who's like the neighbor boy. Um,
I
yeah, and Chris Cooper is in there playing this like super uptight and hardcore father, and
I remember seeing this movie when it came out because I
Annette Bening.
that was when I started like kind of paying attention to like what I guess
Cinema,
cinema would say was good. I guess like Oscars slash Siskel and Ebert, whatever. Who
starting to pay attention,
who also had Dark City as his favorite movie, by the way.
of
Um,
course. Just got to throw that in there.
but I remember seeing American Beauty, and it's been so long since I've seen it, so like I don't have this like memory. I don't even remember the story really. I just remember he was obsessed with his like the next door girl. Like seemed like he was like obsessed with her a little
His
bit.
his daughter's friend, he was obsessed with her, but he was like it was more like a journey for him from like freeing himself from this materialistic life that he's been living.
Sure.
So he quits his job, gets like, like whatever, like a severance package, and decides like he's like, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to work. I want to enjoy myself. And then he does get a job like working at like a drive-through, like McDonald's or something, you know? And his wife is like it is a lot like it has a lot to do with like expectations and keeping up with the Jones, like what do your neighbors do and what do you need to do. And I mean there's a couple good like little speeches in there, and one of them like that Kevin Spacey does say is like about like this isn't life, like he's like looking at like he's about to make out with his wife on the couch and he's holding a beer and he almost spills it, and she's like, hey, like careful, you're almost spilling the beer, and he's like, who cares? And she's like, "But this is Italian leather." And he's like, "Who cares?" And like he blows up, and it was
Hmm.
an interesting take on materialistic culture, and I think it
My
deserves a second look.
Yeah, my memory of that movie, the thing that always stuck with me is the cinematography of that film.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it was very well done. Like I just remember, I think the one guy, the young kid, he was always like videotaping like just
that's
bags,
yeah. Well, he
like
taped everything,
yeah.
everything. He was taping the
But he would
neighbor.
find the beauty in like some simplistic thing, right? Like, and that's what really I think, because again, that's
Part
what it's kind of about is what really defines beauty. Like, and he found beauty in this like mundane, like for example, a plastic bag floating, the wind just blowing it around. Like,
Yep.
you could find beauty in so many different places, and that the cinematography of that film just really resonated. That whole point, I guess. And that's what I remember. Like the story elements didn't really stick with me as much, but like the cinematography, I think really did. So
Mhm.
good pick.
Thank you.
I want to say the Matrix because it's the Matrix, but really the answer is there's only one answer here, and there's one other shout out actually I can talk about in a second. But the answer for me is Princess Mononoke.
Of course, I had a feeling. I couldn't put it as my favorite. It's good, and but please tell me about your. Do
Well,
you remember the first time you saw it?
it was our favorite anime. Like we both
Yeah,
agreed when we did our favorite
exactly.
anime episode. And like I remember buying it because everyone raved about it. I don't even know what made me know it was good. I have no memory of what like somehow like I found out through
Yep,
whatever. Like we didn't have the internet obviously back then. Or
new,
it
but like
was new.
through
It
the
was
grapevine.
newer. Yeah, but we had I had internet, but it was very bare bones and what have you. But like feel like I saw like a commercial or and I was also I think I just saw like an ad somewhere or I really don't know, but like I somehow found a way to buy it.
Oh
Um
wow,
and I owned it back then or
wow.
something. I think because I had a DVD player, that's right. And I think I was able to find it on DVD.
Was it one of those things like, did you ever go, there was this store in the mall near us, well, near me, but, Saturday Matinee?
Oh yeah,
Did you
oh
ever?
yeah, oh yeah. That's where we got. I got certain films.
Sure, but, that was also, I mean, you could rely on them for, like, the kinds of movies you couldn't get at, like, Blockbuster or Video Roll,
Oh
you
yeah,
know?
absolutely. They
It
had a
was
very
very,
unique selection.
yeah, they did, and that's the kinda thing I really miss about places like that, was just, like, a weird eclectic mix of stuff and genres. But yeah, man, that movie is great. It's
The
still a g I can't wait until, like, I feel like Julian is, like, my kids are old enough to
Yeah, I
watch it,
haven't
and we
reached
can
that
watch
point
it,
either. Callista maybe.
so,
Callista
yeah,
maybe. She's
still, it's pretty, it's just violent, that's the thing.
I think she can handle. I think she could handle it personally because I know what she can take and has seen. Kyrie, I don't think is ready for that, but Callista, I think
No,
could.
no,
But
not
just
no.
the subject matter at points, I don't know if they'd be as engaged or interested in it too. You know what I
Sure.
mean? It's not like they love like all the other Miyazaki films, but like really, it's what makes Prince of Mononoke, aside from its amazing animation, which you just kind of expect from a Miyazaki film. This one
Yes,
just really kind of proved that anime could be what I guess Western would call Disney animation, right? Like just like that kind of amazing quality. Like, it really brought it mainstream and brought it to the West, and like even the dubbed is amazing. Like the voice actors they picked for the dub version of it. Honestly, I don't think I've ever watched the Japanese version, which is unusual. Usually, I watch for animation anime Japanese, but for Miyazaki films, they generally find a very good cast. I mean, you got Billy Bob Thornton in there. You got Billy Crudup in there. You got Kristen Dunst as his sister. You got
yep.
Claire Danes as Princess Mononoke. You got Jada Pickett in there. You got Minnie
Oh,
Driver. You got so many
Minnie
people.
Driver, that's it. She was
Yeah, Jada Pinkett
the
was one of the blowers, the workers, the
yes,
women that do
yes.
the
Oh, I love
bellows.
them. Yes.
But no, it's like I sit there and I'm like, I have watched that movie so many times, and the story is just so amazing. Like it just handles like this. It doesn't end the way you think. It's
Mhm.
you have a protagonist that is neutral. It isn't picking sides. You have two sides. You see their perspectives. It does such a good job at like, and I think that's one of the few movies that they didn't it didn't like follow some sort of other story. I think it seemed to be more unique. I don't think it's adapting a novel or anything like Howl's Moving Castle
No,
was the novel.
no,
Like that's what I'm
it's
saying.
not.
Like
It's an original work.
yeah, but yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's
would have to
pretty
say
amazing.
that that movie just like it took me on a deeper journey into anime and made me really appreciate anime more. I probably went deeper than most people, but like that I can't take away from the impact that movie has had on me as far as appreciation of that kind of animation.
Sure.
The Matrix is just was a fun, crazy concept that happened. Like that's probably if Princess Mononoke didn't come out this year, Matrix would probably be my go to because it just
Sure,
was such an
sure.
amazing film. But yeah, Princess Mononoke for sure.
Such a good movie. Such
The,
a, I mean, because it is like a balanced movie between, and your protagonist is like instantly you love him and you want him to succeed and he won't take a side. Like that's the thing that makes it so unique. But yeah, it groundbreaking in a lot of ways. Um, I'm surprised because I almost picked another Miyazaki movie for my favorite for 1999 as well. Not
what
Princess Mononoke,
was another one on there?
another Studio Ghibli movie. My Neighbors the Yamadas,
Oh,
which is a movie, granted, I only watched for the first time 2 years ago.
okay, I never
Uh,
watched it.
it is amazing. It is hilarious. It is about, it's a very, like, almost like Saturday morning well, no, 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 like Sunday comics style, very minimalistic, uh, animated movie, but it's just funny, like, it's
Yeah.
about a family. It's almost like the plot of Incredible Crisis,
Oh Jesus.
but just this family.
I've seen what it is. I just never watched
You
it.
should watch it sometime, and it's very episodic, so you don't have to, like, feel like you need to watch the whole movie from beginning to end to really get the story. It's just a fun, like, put together of these little scenes of this really funny and, um, often unlucky and weird family. I don't know, it's good. Justin.
I do have a shout out,
Oh,
actually.
I do too. I have a question for you, but go ahead. What's your
Well,
shout out?
my shout out is a film. I'm curious if you actually seen this, because this is the movie that came out in '99, and when I went down the list, I'm like, oh wow, I didn't realize this came out in '99, because I was asked to watch this film in art school, and it is a foreign film.
Okay.
It's from Germany, and it's called Run Lola Run.
Yes. Oh, I love that movie.
Oh,
I didn't even
it's
see that.
yeah. I was such a. I remember like we got to my first experience watching Run Lola Run was in the Alfred Auditorium, so we got to
Yeah,
watch it on a big projector, and
saw
I
it at
was.
the screening too.
Oh, you did?
Yes. Yeah, they were showing it in our union, our Hewitt Union.
And
That's
I
where
just like I remember like being blown away by just like I was like, you know, I would say I was more kind of naive, and like you don't really see a lot of foreign movies. Yeah, I was getting into the Japanese animation, but like seeing like another for a film that was made so uniquely in another country, and like being like not Hollywood,
Mhm.
and be so engaging in just like in I just had such a the best thing I think about Road Roller Run is the vibe it gives, and the music, and the kind of adrenaline you get from every single. I mean, it's a Groundhog Day story in a sense, so it's like you're
Really
kind of
is. Yeah.
like, but like it's just. I wouldn't say you watch it necessarily for the story elements necessarily, because it's really kind of more visual experience. If anything, it's I would say for my memory, because you got the visuals of the clock, and like
Yes.
and just her running a lot, and just like it's just more actiony in this. I don't know how to describe it.
And her putting, because it's a lot of it is from her perspective. So like her putting pieces together, like it's a lot of close-ups on her eyes and on her face, and like
Yeah.
looking like clock, time, package,
Yep.
thing, and then like running, and then just like a lot of shots of her like already out the door, like running.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, no, it was a great movie, and yeah, I had a similar kind of feeling about that. Like I was like, oh, Germans make good movies. Like, oh, they don't just wait for us. But you know what I mean? Like it was like
Yeah. We.
I had never really seen a foreign film in that regard. Um, so it was no, it was interesting. It's still it's a good movie. I wonder if it holds up too. I wonder
I
if it
can see
would be worth.
because I found a way to get the movie. I used to own it on VHS somehow. I found it at
Nice.
like online or something. I remember having it, but now I don't know where it is because I think it was on VHS. So it's like I watched it over a few times since I watched it on that theater showing, and I've never been disappointed. And I don't think it's
Yeah.
long. It's not like
Yeah.
a long movie either. I think it's only
Oh
like an
no.
hour and 20 minutes, or maybe if that, you
Oh,
know.
like 80 minutes, 86
But
minutes, something
it's
like
like
that.
it's such a good like filled with so much like interesting like because like every run she does, it's like it's funny because it's like kind of a rogue. It's like doing a rogue like every run she does.
Something a little different.
Like she has
Doesn't
a different thing happens, and it's interesting, and like the ending, like I would just say it's just another ending. You could just keep going with it, but like it still ends good, but like it really isn't about the ending of that movie, right? It's just about the journey and like everything that happens, and it's just such a cool vibe and everything. I don't know, it's good, but I
It
wanted
is
to shout
great.
that up.
That's a good one. Thank you. I forgot about that. My question for you, Justin. Um, my question originally was going to be, what's the first rule of Fight Club, and what's also the second rule of Fight Club?
We're not supposed to
Don't
talk
do
about
that
it though.
every day. Yes, exactly. But the now I'm like wondering, don't you kind of miss this era of when like kind of like this is like the heyday of independent filmmaking, like
This,
breaking
yeah.
into the mainstream. I really miss this era.
Well, didn't like a
I'm not sure
Memento come around this time? Tell you, Memento was a big one out
if
around this time.
2000. Mementos
Yeah, and
2000.
then we already talked about it last one, the Quentin Tarantino's what's oh my god, what's the first movie he made that was like I
Oh,
mentioned.
Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah,
Reservoir
Reservoir
Dogs.
Dogs. I mean that's kind of independent film, right? I mean The Phantom Menace. I mean that's technically an independent film.
Uh, all I can think about is those videos of George Lucas in the screening room at the ranch going, I think I put too much in. I think there's too much.
you know,
I
I
can't make sense of it.
I look back at those things. It's like I love George Lucas. I like the nonchalant vibe he gives sometimes. It's like I get like you can critique his work and like whatever, but like he seems like a good guy to work for. Like he just seems so chill. I don't know. It's just
I
me.
guess. I wonder.
You know?
That's not something uh, that's not something I've heard like, "Oh, he's great to work with, George Lucas." I
I don't
don't
know.
know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I haven't heard the other option of it either. I mean, I don't
I
know.
guess I'm not really excited. I wouldn't be excited if it was the direction of a guy who just kept saying faster and more intense, like, that's the only direction you got. I could understand why some actors would not want to work with him. But
Yeah. Anyways.
anyway,
Anyways.
well, Justin,
I
this has
don't
been a fun
yeah.
ride.
Yeah, it was. So we have one more thing we gotta do before we go. I know it's a long one. And what is your favorite?
Oh,
First off, what is your favorite of this era we just talked about? But then you gotta give me your favorite out of the
favorite,
entire decade.
favorite. Well, if I was to just looking at what I chose. Oh, I don't even remember what I put for the what I had for the other one.
You don't
Jeez.
remember? I picked Hook last episode, if that helps spark your
You picked what?
I picked Hook.
Fuck.
You don't remember? I can't remember what you
Oh,
picked
you
either.
know, I do it was Totoro, I said was my favorite of, like, of that first half.
Oh, okay.
Uh, and if I was to put, against it, I suppose my favorite from this side of the decade would probably man, it's gotta be The Birdcage, because
Is
that
it?
movie is utterly
Wow.
rewatchable. It was almost Waiting for Guffman, and I put Birdcage above Totoro. I love Totoro, it's great, but my final favorite over the whole era of the '90s, if the '90s produced 1 or 2 great things, it was The Birdcage and Waiting for Guffman for me. How about
Hmm.
you? What was your favorite from this half,
I
first
don't
of all?
I because I just we just talked about it, I guess I would say Princess Mononoke.
That's not a bad choice at all.
No, it's
That's
not.
good.
Like
Excellent.
I just kind of just like sitting here thinking about it, with all the ones we just talked about. You know, it's like I can't think of a better movie of everything we talked about that I would say I can't put anything above it. You know, I don't even know. Like, I mean, maybe Dark City, but I'm joking.
Okay, alright. If you say Mononoke, then over your
I
this
would say
decade,
Princess Mononoke is my favorite movie of the '90s. I really
cleared the
do.
field.
I can't
It's a great movie.
I can't think
We're
of
lucky
anything
we're
else.
in the '90s.
Yeah, no, it's it came out right at the end, and it won my heart.
Yes. You could say it defined a lot of the '90s. And it's no, it didn't, but I don't even know what that phrase means, define the night. But, no, it's a great movie. I
Yeah,
love that movie. That's one I feel like I haven't watched in a long time. I can't wait to watch that one again. Oh, this has been very interesting. I cannot believe how many movies in 1995 I've
I
seen.
don't understand. Like, what? Why did like were they just like
Like,
prepping them
everything.
for like? I don't understand what
Years
happened.
afterwards, I feel like I've been watching those movies too. Like, I've
It's
been catching up. Like, I didn't see Casino until I was in college.
yeah, it's like, but it's like '95 is just funny. It's like almost like Hollywood just exploded with like idea, like just
Good
content, and then
idea.
just like we're gonna just take a break for 5 years. You know, it's like that.
I wonder if you could draw some kind of analysis where it shows like a real peak of original ideas and storytelling, and then the rise of CGI, and then the storytelling ideas go down and CGI goes up.
I'm sure there's a video out there that does it. Sure.
It, there it is. It's these two fingers going like this.
Okay.
One goes like this.
Well, if you're listening on our podcast, you guys you got to come see his fingers so you know what he's
Gotta come
talking
see my
about.
fingers.
Anyways, I think we've overstayed our welcome. The '90s is over. It's time to get with it. It's time to get.
It's the
go.
'90s, man. Get
It's
with it.
trying to go to the new century.
We didn't even mention Clueless throughout this whole thing, by
I
the way,
had it.
which
I did have it on my list. I do
is a
do.
decently okay movie.
Yeah, good time.
All right. Alicia
Oh,
Silverstone is like the actress of the '90s too, and
but
music
she's
video.
not. She's only in that movie. Like, what other movie was she in besides like the
She was in
babysitter?
2 Aerosmith videos that were very
She
important
was
to
in
our
she
childhood.
was in the babysitter as well.
Brian and,
I
the
would
other
argue
girl,
that Macaulay Culkin was
Crazy.
the actor of the '90s, but that was just me
I'm gonna give it to Alicia Silverstone.
for her one
All right.
movie.
You would
Okay,
you would give it to Macaulay Culkin. He edges out everybody because of The Good Son. That's a good movie right there. Evil Macaulay Culkin. Everybody will love
Anyways,
that.
what was your favorite movie in the '90s? Did we miss anything? I don't think we did. Could we really we did a good research on
We're pretty
this,
exhaustive.
but
But,
let us know what
but
your
tell
favorite.
us,
Yeah, tell us what your favorite '90s movie was.
and this, as always, has been your 90s boys, Justin and Paul. I'm Paul.
I'm Justin.
Thanks for watching and listening.